Hello, my name is C. Stephen Blue, and I want to introduce you today to a group of wonderful local poets. And we are the Eugene Poetry Foundation. And we're going to be doing some performances and some poems for you today. We hope you enjoy it. This is the title poem from my book, Wildweed. My stuff is rough. It's bare bones. I hate to answer telephones. I want to look you in the eyes when we speak. But it ain't no use in this fast-paced world to ride a horse or court a girl. If you take your time to get there, she's just moved on. And what becomes of the alley cat on the night of the hard-driving rain, when the lightning speaks loud and everyone crowds in the shelter of warm window panes? I live my life in a pot-bellied stove. I'm an oak tree with ages to tell. I'm the earthquake commander, a green salamander, a salesman with nothing to sell. But did you see me on the night of the new, when everything changed in an instant? The air was so clean and the grass was so green that a new age did not seem so distant. In the quiet, an angel calls, awakened by the engine stalls of the inner city, pondering its sleep. The dream is a draftsman, a hill-dwelling craftsman, a step in a puddle on the road to forever, and life is a boat in a great castle moat. We all circle, yet must row together. Now is then, and yesterday's tomorrow. But how can we live it like we mean it, when we're running so fast that the race cannot last, and the space in between lies unseen? Or is that to lay in a meadow and ponder the meaning of the wild blue yonder, the stars at night, or a daffodil? The momentum is great as it rolls down the hill of imagination gone to seed. I'm a wildweed. Why do I feel so safe in the rain and long to sit behind waterfalls? I gaze at blue crystal, I tell tattered tales, and listen when eternity calls. Maybe this just goes on and on, or maybe the hunger can't fathom the dawn. It's the spark in the dark behind your eyes when you sleep just the moment, and then it is gone and you weep. Sheltering skies pour forth from your eyes and germinate the seed of my fast-growing need. I'm a wildweed. Yes, I'm a wildweed.
My name's Charles Castle. This poem is from this morning. My dream of another spring. When it comes, that last time, that last day, that quiet night, let us be gardens of tender flowers and smiles of the softest thorn pane and new roses. And let us pick them for each other especially, and for the children mostly. Let us pick them for everyone we have ever loved especially, and for those who still love us mostly. And when there are no thorns left to forgive each other, save forgiving ourselves our thorns. May it in grace be done. Gardens too must forgive themselves for what they could not grow. Let us be gardens, you and I, for each other and all. And I will remember your sun-deep soil and the leaves you caressed me with. And perhaps you will remember I was the sun shining over you, whispering, grow the world in all these seeds and love me green again. So when it comes, let us both be green in our softest tears, in our deepest soil, and in our sun-bright rooted hearts. And I will hold for you my dream of another spring. What I never thought to imagine. Monastery crows tying ribbons of absolution to insecure weather vanes and pecking out love songs on tower bells. Icelandic fog dreaming of warmer seas it had once tasted on the wind-blown tips of adulterous waves. Your breath on my ear, painting your dreams in me while we both lay sleeping. Invisible colors flashing in mirrors, breaking your heart and bringing inconsolable tears, simply because they wished to be seen by someone in love. Short-lived emotional dust devils blowing across bone deserts searching for companionship. Darkness in its passion yearning to reveal a beauty it was blind to, and so drives the night out to live alone. Perfectly folded silk scarves infused with the scent of fog on shuttered windowsills of white beaches never visited. Remnants of memories and unclaimed thoughts left floating above pillows of day workers who dreamed poets and painters took their misspoken words as brushstrokes of inspiration. Homeless love letters dropped like thunder from storm clouds asking forgiveness. An old postman on his last day of work, wondering how he would paint that feeling of disquiet he had had lately. The last time I would see you, and would I know it?
I wrote this back in, 1972 or so, quite some time ago. It's an Aztec definition where you talk about the thing to define it. This is called arrival. South first, I am in the desert. It is in the desert that the great whirlwind pulls me up, buffeting, bruising, hurling me through waves of debris. I swim in debris. I am thrown through cactus, through gravel, earth, the ruins of men and their works. I am buffeted until I can see no more, nor less, just an effervescing, multilingual chant. I am lifted through the heart of music until I float like misty sunlight in misty sunlight, floating at the crest of the wind, wondering at that zenith how, in terror, I would descend. Thank you.
of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the waters, and he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Is that enough? All right. 5, 4, 3. My name is Andrew Gonzalez, and I'm going to be reciting the poem, "Forgive Me My Sanity." The only sanity one ever knows is one's own. So comes this appeal as a plea from the individual. Forgive me my sanity. 'Tis the only sanity I have ever known. And this individual is given a testament as a newborn. The parents, aunts, uncles, and doctors come certifying, some merely obliging the new sane person, just like them, 10 fingers, 10 toes. And off the sane little baby goes with those perfectly sane parents taking them home. And these parents are perfectly sane, so there isn't any fighting or any lots and lots of fighting, because this would implicate the parents who are still children, implicating their parents who are still children, implicating their parents, and all of the children and the parents are sane. At least that is what they like to tell one another. And anyone who denies it, they have a problem to be quarantined by exile or asylum. Sanity, my dear friend, the only stability I have ever known. You are a symptom of a complicit agreement between family members in a long line of people, swearing before thrones and before dynasties that if anything is wrong for any reason, it most certainly wasn't their fault. Yes, they are determined to be confident, all of them, that there is nothing wrong with them or with their families. Good old chaps through and through, from a sure place, raised by sure people, all of them, sure, unwavering, don't falter, your children might see right through you. Though that wouldn't make them any better. Individuals fighting and screaming and gnashing their teeth are condemned to be just like one another. Someone speaks of better, someone speaks of worse. It all sounds like bad advertising to me for a crappy board game called life. Well, anyways, forgive me well my mental wellness. Oh, here, hidden in the birth contract, a clause which states, handle with care. No, really, someone forgot. People are broken all over the place, and it says, handle with care beside each of their broken bodies. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Leo Rivers, and I want to do something a little different today. I usually get liquored up on coffee first thing in the morning, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'll write some poetry. And I thought I'd read you a poem that I wrote just as I wrote it in about 15, 20 minutes at Raleigh Coffee in Cottage Grove. And then I'll polish it up, fix it up as a poem to make it a solid piece, and I'll come back and read that. So there's sort of a before and after going on. But right now, we're definitely on the before. This is about my parents, and it's called The Day I Buried Them. 1. Ashes. I see my father brought to his square hole by the gatekeeper of the cemetery. From his golf cart, he reaches up and passes a cardboard box the size and shape of a ream of paper to me. The pastor clears his throat, reads his bit, and I put the box in the hole. In the hole, in the lawn, and as I straighten, he pats my shoulder, then goes back down. The gardener comes to replace the dirt below the plaque with the nameplate of the man whose name I carry on. Part 2. Mom. I see my mother like a sodden towel slumped in her expensive chair. The oval surface of the vodka shivering in her tumbler like a mirror on the wall. After a trembler, rheumy eyes, wet as a fish, hissing at shadows, unaware she has taken a piss. I think, these were my monsters? Looking at this. Thank you.
This is a piece I wrote back in the 80s. I was sitting at a sidewalk cafe in Venice Beach, California on a Sunday morning, drinking a cup of coffee, watching the waves break. And this poem came to me completely formed, and I have never changed a word. Now, this poem is about being in the moment, and it's called Serendipity Sessions. In the far-reaching furrows on the frontier of the future, beyond the fear-founded feelings of failure, lies this moment. Precariously perched in the present am I, and I tumble in thoughts of the deep path of passion, seems the fashion these days. And I find I'm amazed by the simplest things that a fresh moment brings. Can I linger here long? May the seconds tick slowly as I slip through the shadows of serendipity sessions. For the plans that are painted from the palette of presence are most promising and pure and profound, and it's nice to be around. Do I sense these sensations for the same round of reason that I'm writing these rhymes to arouse you? Are moments just fleeting by, tricklings of time I may come to? I'm here now, I pass them, they're through. Remember them fondly, they spark something new, the next measure of moments that surround you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Now we have Kim.
Yay! Hello. I have some selections for you from Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I've read all these before, but they are very timely, as they always are, but even more so this evening. This first one, particularly because of Dean's story about Jesus, that is why I'm reading this one. So it's a Coney Island of the Mind, as I say. That's one of the actually possibly most popular poetry books in America. Even now, it was written in 1958, maybe? Yep, 1958. So, anyway, this is poem number 5. Sometime during eternity, some guys show up, and one of them, who shows up real late, is a kind of carpenter from some square-type place like Galilee, and he starts wailing and claiming he is hip to who made heaven and earth, and that the cat who really laid it on us is his dad. And moreover, he adds, It's all written down on some scroll-type parchments, which some henchmen leave lying around the Dead Sea somewhere a long time ago, and which you won't even find for a couple of thousand years or so, or at least for 1947 of them to be exact. And even then, nobody really believes them, or me for that matter. You're hot, they tell him, and they cool him. They stretch him on the tree to cool. And everybody after that is always making models of this tree with him hung up and always crooning his name and calling him to come down and sit on their combo as if he is the king cat who's got to blow or they can't quite make it. Only he don't come down from his tree and just hang there on his tree looking real petered out and real cool. And also, according to a roundup of late world news from the usual unreliable sources, real dead. Okay, so this is poem number 15, and it is about poetry. Or poets, or both. Constantly risking absurdity and death whenever he performs above the heads of his audience, the poet, like an acrobat, climbs on rhyme to a high wire of his own making, and balancing on I-beams above a sea of faces, aces his way to the other side of day, performing entre-shots and sleight of foot tricks and other high theatrics, and all without mistaking anything for what it may not be. For he's the super realist who must perforce perceive taught truth before the taking of each stance or step in his supposed advance toward that still higher perch where beauty stands and waits with gravity to start her death-defying leap. And he, a little Charlie Chaplin man who may or may not catch her fair eternal form spread-eagled in the empty air of existence. This is one I really wanted to read, and I've read it before a couple of times, but one of the many interesting things about this poem, which is called I'm Waiting, is that I was trying to find this book the other day, and I couldn't find it, so I Googled this poem. It came up on the Poetry Foundation, and I read through it, and I thought, I don't really remember it being like that, because I think Elvis is in there somewhere, and he's definitely not in this online version. So then I looked harder, I found the book, and the online version, which is pervasive on the internet, if you Google this poem, is very whitewashed, and many parts of it are taken out. So, it seems kind of weird to me, but if there are any parts of this that make you feel a little uncomfortable, they are probably have been expunged from the internet version, which is really pretty weird. It's a much shorter poem on the internet, but I'm reading the original version. And originally it was written to be read to jazz. There's this whole several poems that were written to be read to jazz, so you can just play whatever jazz you like in your head while I'm reading this. And also, the real reason I was wanting to read this is because it's the season of politics right now, and this could have been written tomorrow in response to what is going on right now in America, which I find fascinating. And I try to read it like a politician. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. It's called I Am Waiting. I am waiting for my case to come up, and I am waiting for a rebirth of wonder, and I am waiting for someone to really discover America and wail. And I am waiting for the discovery of a new symbolic western frontier, and I am waiting for the American eagle to really spread its wings and straighten up and fly right. And I am waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. And I am waiting for the war to be fought, which will make the world safe for anarchy. And I am waiting for the final withering away of all governments, and I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the second coming, and I am waiting for a religious revival to sweep through the state of Arizona. And I am waiting for the grapes of wrath to be stored. And I am waiting for them to prove that God is really American And I am seriously waiting for Billy Graham and Elvis Presley to exchange roles. Seriously. And I am waiting to see God on television piped onto church altars if only they can find the right channel to tune in on. And I am waiting for the Last Supper to be served again with a strange new appetizer. And I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for my number to be called. And I am waiting for the living end. And I am waiting for Dad to come home, his pockets full of irradiated silver dollars. And I am waiting for the atomic test to end. And I am waiting happily for things to get much worse before they improve. And I am waiting for the Salvation Army to take over. And I am waiting for the human crowd to wander off a cliff somewhere, clutching its atomic umbrella. And I am waiting for Ike to act. And I am waiting for the meek to be blessed and inherit the earth without taxes. And I am waiting for forests and animals to reclaim the earth as theirs. And I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all nationalisms without killing anybody. And I am waiting for limits and planets to fall like rain. And I am waiting for lovers and weepers to lie down together again in a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the great divide to be crossed. And I am anxiously waiting for the secret of eternal life to be discovered by an obscure general practitioner and save me forever from certain death. And I am waiting for life to begin. And I am waiting for the storms of life to be over. And I am waiting to set sail for happiness. And I am waiting for a reconstructed Mayflower to reach America with its picture story and TV rights sold in advance to the natives. And I am waiting for the lost music to sound again in the lost continent in a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the day that maketh all things clear. And I am waiting for Old Man River to just stop rolling along past the country club. And I am waiting for the deepest South to just stop reconstructing itself in its own image. And I am waiting for a sweet, desegregated chariot to swing low and carry me back to Old Virginia. And I am waiting for Old Virginia to discover just why darkies are bored. And I am waiting for God to look out from Lookout Mountain and see the Ode to the Confederate Dead as a real farce. And I am awaiting retribution for what America did to Tom Sawyer. And I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for Tom Swift to grow up. And I am waiting for the American boy to take off Beauty's clothes and get on top of her. And I am awaiting for Alice in Wonderland to retransmit to me her total dream of innocence. And I am waiting for Child Rollins to come to the final darkest tower. And I am waiting for Aphrodite to grow live arms at a final disarmament conference in a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting to get some intimations of immortality by recollecting my early childhood. And I am waiting for the green mornings to come again. Youth's dumb green fields come back again, and I am waiting for some strains of unpremeditated art to shake my typewriter. And I am waiting to write the great indelible poem. And I am waiting for the last long, careless rapture. And I am perpetually waiting for the fleeing lovers on the Grecian urn to catch each other up at last and embrace. And I am awaiting perpetually and forever a renaissance of wonder. Lawrence Burlingame, he's 97 years old, still alive and kicking.
Thank you. I have that book. I bought it from him personally.
Oh, really?
At the City Lights bookstore in 1967.
Thanks again for bringing us Lawrence.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay. Eddie, you're up.
Eddie?